No one walks the corridors of the Vatican without controversy. Pietro Parolin, accused of shady deals with China, linked to a $140 million scandal. Yet still, he stands, not as the accused, but as the witness. And now, he stands before something far greater than any courtroom, the eyes of the Church, the weight of the conclave. Cardinal Pietro Parolin, for 12 years, the Vatican's top diplomat, a man of silence and negotiation. A man many believe could be the next pope. But what does it mean when a man shaped by secrecy is asked to step into the light? In an age where the Church is bleeding credibility, where victims of abuse still cry for justice, where faith and power often feel uneasily close, can a man like Parolin, discreet, pragmatic, and profoundly institutional, lead us forward? Or is he exactly what Rome wants, when what we need is something entirely different? This is Amenorino, a place of reflection, not reaction. Today, we don't just ask who will be the next pope. We ask, what kind of soul does the Church need right now? Behind Vatican walls, the loudest voices rarely rise to the top. Pietro Parolin built his life in the shadows of diplomacy. No grand homilies, no fiery manifestos, just careful language, careful gestures, careful steps. Born in northern Italy's Veneto region, he lost his father in a car crash when he was just 10. Maybe that's when he first learned what silence feels like. Ordained in 1980, he entered the Holy See's diplomatic service at 31 and never looked back. Nigeria, Mexico, Venezuela, Hanoi, Caracas, Beijing. He negotiated with governments that hated the Church and others that feared it. He didn't raise his voice. He raised his access. Those who worked with him often say, Parolin listens, and he absorbs, and then, days later, he answers. In a Vatican too often dominated by ideology, his power was that he had none, at least not the kind you see. And maybe that's why today, in the quiet halls of the Curia, many cardinals see him as the bridge between two worlds. The Church that is, and the Church that could be. Power in the Vatican is rarely explosive. It erodes, quietly, patiently, sometimes dangerously. In 2018, Cardinal Parolin orchestrated what was meant to be a historic step toward religious freedom. The secret agreement with China on bishop appointments. Critics, including underground Chinese Catholics, called it a betrayal. You gave the keys to Caesar, one bishop said. But Parolin stood firm. He believed compromise was the only road left. Was he naive, or was he simply realistic? And then there was the London scandal. $140 million vanished in a failed real estate deal. Vatican money, Peter's pence, money given by the faithful, mismanaged by the secretariat Parolin oversaw. His deputy, Cardinal Pietro, was found guilty of embezzlement. Parolin not charged, not condemned, just present. The Catholic Church in 2025 is not simply in transition, it's bleeding. From synods in Germany to silent altars in China, from African bishops rejecting Rome's moral direction, to the laity in the West drifting into spiritual exile, we are no longer arguing about doctrine. We are arguing about identity. What is the Church, a rock or a tent, a fortress or a field hospital? In the middle of this storm stands Pietro Parolin, neither prophet nor reformer, not a charismatic spark like John Paul, not a theological force like Benedict, not a pastoral disruptor like Francis. Parolin is stable, and maybe that's why some cardinals lean toward him, not because he will chart a bold new future, but because he won't burn the present down. But I wonder, is stability enough when the very soul of the Church is in question? Because we are past the point of management, that we need healing. We need truth. And sometimes, healing starts by tearing away what looks like calm, to expose what's festering beneath. Parolin may preserve unity, but will he confront the rot? And yet, maybe restraint is its own form of strength. Maybe, in a church torn between shouting factions, what we need most is someone who refuses to raise his voice. Pietro Parolin is not the man to ignite the crowd. He is not the man who will rewrite doctrine, but he is the man who has quietly held together the fragile threads of global Catholicism. For more than a decade, he knows bishops in Nigeria by name. He knows how to speak with the Communist Party in Beijing without surrendering everything. He doesn't provoke, but he doesn't panic either. And perhaps, just perhaps, there is something holy in that. In the Gospels, Jesus spoke often of seeds and soil, of things that grow slowly, quietly. Beneath the surface, Parolin may not lead a spiritual revolution, but he might prepare the ground for it. Sometimes, God doesn't send a fire. He sends a whisper in the wind. And the whisper says, "Stay, listen, endure." Maybe that is Parolin's gift, not to be the answer, but to hold the space for one. Today, the doors of the Sistine Chapel will close, and 133 cardinals, men from every continent, every wound, every hope, will cast their vote. They will write a name. They will whisper a prayer. And the world will wait for the smoke. I do not know if that name will be Parolin. I do not know if the Church is ready for someone so silent, so complex, so ordinary. But I know this. The Spirit has never chosen based on charisma, headlines, or even qualifications. The Spirit chooses hearts that are available. And Parolin, for all his flaws and all his caution, has never stopped showing up. He showed up in the chaos of diplomacy. He showed up in scandal, not as a hero, not as a victim, but simply as a witness. And maybe that's what we need right now, a witness to pain, to truth, and to Christ. The conclave will decide a name, but only heaven knows the mission. So tonight, I pray not for the best candidate, but for the bravest servant. And whether it is Pietro Parolin or another, may the one who kneels in white be the one who listens most. Veni, Sancte Spiritus, come, Holy Spirit.